In this video, we're building a dungeon adventure game with Python. Your choices will shape the genre. It's the final project of Chapter 2 on Flow Control. If you enjoy project-based tutorials, especially ones with a game vibe, make sure to subscribe. There is even cooler stuff coming up. In this text-based adventure game, the ultimate goal is for the player to pass through a dungeon and eventually find a magical treasure. To achieve this, the player must face various rooms, make smart decisions, and manage their energy. We use basic Python tools such as input, print, conditionals, loops, and functions to build the game logic. We also use exit to control the game's flow in specific situations, which we'll explain later. The game begins by displaying a title to give the player a sense of starting an adventure. We define 4 key variables. Score tracks the player's points. Energy shows how much stamina the player has to interact with the world. Key found and treasure opened are Boolean variables that track progress. These variables change through the game and determine how the adventure unfolds. The player is asked to choose a weapon, either a sword or magic, and to enter their starting energy between 0 and 100. These choices affect their ability to enter and survive the dungeon. If the player enters an invalid, for example a string instead of a number, we use a try except block to catch the value error. Inside the except, we print an error message and assign a default value of 20 to energy, so the player can continue playing. This ensures the game doesn't crash and keeps the experience smooth. We check if the player has enough energy to enter the dungeon. If they choose the sword, they need at least 15 energy. If they choose magic, only 30 energy is required. If neither condition is met, we use the exit function to stop the program. Exit is a function from Python 6 module that immediately terminates the program. We use it here to represent that the player is too weak to continue. We define a list of rooms that player will go through: goblin, empty, trap, key, treasure. Each room has its own logic and challenge. We use a while loop to keep the game running as long as the player has energy and hasn't reached the end of the room list. This is the core of the gameplay and controls how the player moves forward. In each room, the player chooses to either search or run. If they run, they escape danger but lose some energy. If they search, they face what's in the room. To simulate the search action, we use a full loop that shows 2 steps, step 1 and step 2. In the goblin room, the player is attacked by a creature. If they choose to fight, they earn some points, but it costs them energy. If they decide to run instead, they still lose some energy, just by trying to escape. In the trap room, the player unknowingly steps into a dangerous situation. They lose a chunk of energy, but manage to gain a few points for surviving the challenge. In the key room, the player discovers a magical key. This key is essential to unlocking the treasure later in the game, so finding it is a big step toward winning. In the treasure room, if the player already has the magic key, they are able to unlock the chest and claim the treasure. But if they don't have the key, they're told to keep exploring and try again later. In the empty room, nothing special happens. It's just a quiet space. But the player still loses a bit of energy from walking around and staying alert. The game ends either when the player finishes all the rooms or runs out of energy. Based on the outcome, different endings are displayed. If energy hits zero, the player passes out. If the treasure is open, the player wins. If only the key is found, it means the player was close to winning. Otherwise, the player survives but fails to find the treasure.